Good morning, everybody. Here we are on Friday, the 11th of September for our first celebration assembly. Now, these will probably change over the coming weeks. Maybe some new features, maybe some old features returning, and we're going to see how they go. But I've got a few pieces of paper in front of me, and I'm going to just point out two trophies behind me as well. We've got our attendance trophy, although attendance is a bit of a peculiar thing to be talking about at the moment. And we've got our house points trophy. So lots to talk about before we get started with celebrating the work, because that's what the Friday Assembly is all about, celebrating the good work going on in the classrooms. I did just want to say a big well done to everybody. In our staff meeting on Wednesday, we were talking about how the first few weeks of school is really important that we get everybody settled back into the rhythm and settled back into that pattern of working, coming to school, knowing what playtimes look like, getting through our first full week this week. That includes all sorts of just little changes to the timetable. And I think you've done a really terrific job. I'm so proud of all the staff and all the extra work that they've put in to make sure you're ready for coming back to school. But also I'm really proud of you, 170 pupils who've successfully come back to school this term. So a huge well done. You should be really, really proud of yourselves. Now, we mentioned the word rhythm, and it can be a bit tricky to get a good rhythm going at the moment when some of us have got to stay at home for a few days whilst we wait for a test result, or we've got a member of our household who's waiting for a test result, and that can be a little bit difficult. But when we're back in school, we're working full speed ahead, and if you're at home and you're feeling well enough to work, we can access that work that mums and dads have been sent as well, so that there's no reason for you to feel like you're stopping learning too much, okay? And over the coming weeks, we're going to show parents and you how we can use Google Classrooms to get access to that learning and then submit that learning back into school really, really easily. On top of that, there's lots of new exciting announcements that will be coming into classrooms in the next few weeks. So that's really, really good. Okay, that's enough about me and the school. Let's get on to you. So our school of winners this week, basically we talked about the winners wall in a previous assembly, and what we're hoping to do is build up a picture of the children across the school who've been nominated and selected by their teachers and by the adults in the school for things that they have done to match the school mottos. Remember, be brave, be kind, be brilliant, and be yourself. So I have my first piece of paper ready. Here we go. Starting off with the Pines class, Mrs. Howsam has nominated Florence this week because Florence has been brilliant. She has settled back into school really, really well, and she's also done very well in her first piece of maths assessment. So checking on how well Florence is learning her maths, she's done a terrific job. So well done to you, Florence. In the Poplars class, Mrs. Wheeler had to choose, it's a really tough one, but she chose William Gisby because William, you've been extremely kind. Somebody came to tell Mrs. Wheeler that their child had been struggling with their yogurt, could not open their yogurt lid all week, and William had just been doing it himself. He'd been helping out because he didn't want to see somebody stuck and not having their yogurt at lunch. And that's the kind of thing, William, is really pleased to have such a helpful and lovely young man in the class, and Mrs. Wheeler was really, really proud of you. I'm going to read this one out from Mr. Flynn because it's a really, really good one. In fact, it covers all of the parts of the motto, so here we go. Our star this week has to be Ava G. Ava Guazzaroni. We're not surprised, Ava, but you'll be pleased to hear why. She's come back to school in such a positive and hard-working way. She gets the award for being kind to Georgia because she helped her to settle in really well. On the first day, she saw Georgia was finding it hard to find a friend on the playground, so she stopped playing the game that she was playing, and she came up to ask her to play in her game, which really helped Georgia to settle in. She's been looking after her little brother Zach each morning, bringing him into school and talking about him throughout the day, wondering how he's getting on. She's also been brilliant with her hard work. She's been working so hard and always doing her best. She did some good writing all about herself. she gets the award also for being brave. She's been really missing some of her friends from last year, especially when she sees them walk across the playground, but she was really brave and she understood the reasons at the moment why we can't meet up with them at playtimes. And we're all hoping that soon we can get those children back together on the playground as much as possible, and hoping that won't be many weeks or months. And finally, just for being herself, Ava, you're an all-round superstar, and you can see why it was easy to choose her, Mr. Flynn says. Wow, that really is fantastic, Ava. Congratulations to you. We move on to the Maples class, and Mrs. Ennis has chosen Charlie Feary. Charlie, for being amazing and a great role model. And you can see a picture of Charlie here reading his book in class. A brilliant start in the Maples class. Well done. Moving on to the Oaks class. This is another child who's made a great impression. Isabel, you have been really brave. This is Isabel Edwards. You settled into our school. It took you no time at all. And you've come in smiling. You've made some really great new friends. And every time I see you, give me a little wave and say hello. But actually, you've made a great start to life in your class. So well done to you. And finally, an award for Stanley in the Cedars class. I'm going to read this one out as well. Mrs. Crozier and Mrs. Lomas chose Stanley because he's been so kind. Stanley's been showing care, consideration and kindness to two of the newer fellow classmates this week. So Kieran and Harrison, although you joined us last year, you're one of the newer ones into the school. And I think Stanley and you have been getting on really, really well. And Stanley, you also know what it's like to feel new, because everybody knows what it's like to feel a bit new or a bit uncertain somewhere. So you've made Kieran feel really settled, and that's an extremely kind thing to do. You are a lovely young man, Stanley, and I think you've got a real maturity about you this year that we can see. So I'm really proud to be able to give you that one. Well done. Now, they're all the awards from the teachers, and I have one as well. I've got a little award, a head teacher's award. I won't be giving these out every week. These are for children that really stand out, cut above the rest, and they do something that warrants me to give a head teacher's award. And I am going to give this one to William Bashford. William, every single day that you are in school, you make sensible, kind, hardworking, honest, and good decisions. That should never go unnoticed, because sometimes children that are just really good are just expected to be really good. But we do notice all of those children, and you, William, are definitely one of them, and you should be celebrated and you should be proud of yourself. And I've noticed that you're picking higher order vocabulary in your writing since you've come back, as well as picking up these new rules and your way around the school in no time at all. So a really excellent start to your final year in school. Well done. Okay, let's tick off my list, shall we? See what else we've got to talk about next. Now you'll be able to see the attendance for each class on the screen. And as I talk over the top of it, you can see that the attendance has been pretty good actually. Now, the way that the school and government system work is, if a child is off school at the moment because they're self-isolating or they may have symptoms of coronavirus, that does not count on these numbers. So you'll see here that the children that have not been in school because they've been poorly or for other reasons, nothing to do with the coronavirus, that's what takes it away from 100%. So the attendance has been all right. It's not been bad for our first week. Our first few days were incredible. But I think that the germs have been spread around, and mums and dads are being safe at the moment, even if they're saying to you they're keeping you off school and they're not sure if you've got coronavirus or not. They're just double checking because they don't want to take the risk. And I totally understand that. And it's a really tricky time because people want to make sure they're being safe instead of being sorry. So we do definitely understand that. But I think that over the coming few weeks, those sniffles and those sore throats that was just actually everybody sharing germs again will mean that they're all done and dusted and everybody is back in school. I'm pretty sure that's how it's going to go. Fingers crossed. Okay, so it's time to see that the award is going to go to, it's really close, but the Pines class, by 0.5%, I think, beat the Redwoods. So in first place is Pine's class, and I'll be taking the trophy down after the assembly. Well done to Pine's class. Okay, let's move on. So now we're on to birthdays, and I've got a list here of children who've celebrated a birthday since we've returned to school. So I'm just going to wish you all a happy birthday. Here we go. Lacey Atkins, I think you had your birthday on our very first day back in school. You turned 11, so happy birthday to you. We did say happy birthday to you last week. Oscar Napper, it was your birthday on the 5th of September over the weekend, as it was Mia Lenton. Now, you told me this morning, Mia, about the things you got for your birthday and what you're deciding to spend your money on. Alfred, you had your birthday at the weekend as well, so a big happy birthday to you. You and Mia both a decade old, 10 years old. Charlie Pepperdine, it was your birthday on Wednesday when you turned 8, and it was nice to see you smiling on your birthday. Fiona Howsam, it was your birthday yesterday, you turned 5. And Finley Westwood, it's your birthday today, you're 10 years old. So a big happy birthday to all the people in school who've been celebrating it since we've returned. Okie dokie. Just to announce about birthdays, quite often children do like to bring in cupcakes or treats or something like that. And we don't normally have sweets in school, but when it's a birthday, it's quite nice, isn't it? So we do let children bring in something like a bag of Haribos where the children can take the individual bags home. That sort of thing will be fine, but nothing where the children would have like cupcakes or items like that, please. Okay, let's talk house points. Now, house points are going to be big this year because it's a really good way for us to connect with each other in different classes whilst we're still working in our own little groups and bubbles. So I'm going to just show you the certificates now. You will see that if you earn 25 house points for your team, you will come to see me to get the bronze certificate. Then moving up to level 2, if you get 50 points for your team, you will earn a silver certificate to take home, and 100 points gets you the gold certificate. Who is going to be the first person in this school this year to get 100 team points for their team? I do lay down the gauntlet and wish you the best of luck. So let's talk about the team points this week then. In 4th place, we have got the Dragons team with 16 house points. Right in front of them by 1 point is the Serpents team with 17 points. Moving on to 2nd place, a bit of a jump now, 28 points for the Phoenixes. And in 1st place are the Eagles, this week with 32 points. So when we come to the end of our term 1, our final week being the 19th of October that week, then we'll see which house team has won overall for term 1 and what reward we will give them. Okay, special mention. Now, this young lady over the summer holidays wrote to Blue Peter and had done an activity which earned her a response from Blue Peter. Not only did she get a letter, but she got a Blue Peter badge, and these are very coveted, which means they're very precious and very sought after by people. Really proud, Bethan. You were literally bursting with excitement to tell us all about it. Mr. Flynn and I saw you on the playground the other day, and you were buzzing, weren't you? So we are really proud of you, Bethan, and I hope that you keep that badge forever. Mrs. Wright's got one as well from when she was about your age. Okay, let's see. Have I mentioned everything? Oh, yes, I've got one little thing, a little thought for the day. It's a quote from Albert Einstein. And I was thinking about this because I think that you've had to do a lot of remembering, a lot of logical things. You've had to remember where to put your bag, when to wash your hands, when to do this, where to go here, when to do that. And I think that's quite a lot to remember. And there's a lot of logic and a lot of order and a lot of routine for you to remember. And logic is good. But Albert Einstein once said that logic will take you from A to B, but imagination will take you everywhere. So this weekend, do something really creative and imaginative, okay? Now, finally, everybody, just a reminder about homework. We have given the first few weeks off with homework. There was no need to start homework when we were really concentrating on getting you back into school. when homework does start coming home, if it's just a teacher asking you to log on to something at home or try something at home or read your book, that's fine. But no specific homework at the moment, no weekly set homework at the moment until we tell you about how we're going to be doing that, because we're going to slightly change it for you this year. And that will help children and parents in case we do have to lock down a bubble or a school. We're going to be doing the homework through Google Classrooms. So that'll be a great way for us to get practicing how to use it. Have a lovely Friday afternoon, everybody. Have a lovely weekend, and can't wait to see you back on Monday. Thank you. Bye-bye.